recording of this, right? Or also any other content. 'Cause we have a lot of content on here, a lot of free stuff. You can learn about how to build trading robots. We have a lot of crypto stuff on here. Actually interviewed a good friend of mine that runs a crypto company where they built their own blockchain. There's a whole series on that. And we keep adding more and more to this. I think probably sometime soon we're even gonna start like a podcast type of thing. But if you guys are interested in any of this content, if you're interested in the recording of what we're talking about here today, then the YouTube is definitely the place to go. And when you're there, you know, the typical YouTube, hit like and subscribe and hit the ringer button. But honestly though, because it will give you access to all this free material. And when, for example, like right now we're streaming, you'll get that notification. It will tell you, hey, you know, check out this new thing that we're doing. So if you want to stay up to date, you want to get the latest in crypto, you want to get the latest in financial technology, building algorithms, all that kind of stuff, check out our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit that ringer button, and you'll get all that free stuff there. All right. Okay, cool. So without further ado, welcome guys. Thank you very much for being part of this webinar. I'm very excited for this. I hope you are too. The class starts in 10 days. I'm actually, let me introduce myself first of all. I'm the CEO of Lumiwealth, right? The company that is hosting this, right? I also teach our algorithmic trading course as well, if that's something you guys are interested in. But yeah, I'm very excited about this course. I'm very excited I'm going to be taking this as well, right? So for those of you guys that want to learn how to code in blockchain, Solidity, that sort of thing, I'm right there with you. I can't wait to do this. I have so many ideas in my head, Alexandra. We got to talk about this when we're going through this. But I mean, there's so many really cool things that you can build with this language. Everything from, you know, making NFTs, the typical way to, I've been thinking about making NFTs for real estate, and, you know, or make our own crypto coin. I want to create a Lumi coin, right? There's so many like really cool and interesting things that you can do with blockchain these days. If you're here, I'm sure I don't have to explain that to you. You probably already feel that way. But I'm very excited for this class. Starts in a little over a week. And yeah, so let me introduce Alexandra. Fantastic person, great to talk to, and I can't wait to learn from you as well, Alexandra. Do you want to take it away?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Rob. My name is Alexandra Kropova, and I've taught thousands of students just like you. Hopefully, if you join the masterclass, how to build smart contracts and how to work with blockchain. Let's talk about the agenda today. First up, we are going to do an introduction to everyone here today and ask you guys who's on the call, what do you do? Then we'll talk about why you should learn blockchain, what is the blockchain, what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum. We're going to do a general overview in today's webinar, and then in the actual masterclass, we're going to be deep diving into all of it and also building lots of projects in the actual masterclass. We'll talk about smart contracts, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and then answer any questions that any of you might have. So let's get started with who's on the call. So we'd love to have this be an interactive webinar with all of you joining us today. So we'd love to have you type in the chat, what is your occupation? Do you know how to code? And how much blockchain experience do you have? Do you have some, none? Perhaps you have a little bit of coding experience, no coding experience. If you are open to it, then type it out in the chat. And we'd love to know our audience because we will tailor the course to the people in it. So let's see, I'll give you all a moment to type out in the chat. Okay, awesome. We have one message from Blazon. I have zero experience in blockchain. Do you think I can learn in 2 months full-time job ready? Yes, I think 2 months is plenty of time if you dedicate yourself to master a skill, especially blockchain. Of course, as the technology develops, it will take more than 2 months to keep advancing your skills. But if you dedicate yourself in 2 months, you can do a lot more than you think you can. If you apply yourself and if you're learning the right things, if you are streamlining your learning and not just learning completely random things all over the place. Okay, let's see what else we have in the chat. We have Omar says that Omar is an entrepreneur, no coding experience, no blockchain. That's totally fine. Even if you have no experience in anything, you can take this course. You don't have to know how to code. You don't need to have a math background or blockchain background. That's perfectly fine. We'll take you from a beginner all the way up to building out your own projects. Okay, let's see what else we have.
We made it like that. We specifically made it to be easy for someone who's never coded before. right? We talked about this from the very beginning, right?
Yes. Next, we have Arya, who is a fintech data scientist with 5 years coding experience, no blockchain experience. That's the perfect place to come is here then. Next, we have Huda. My name is Huda, no coding experience. Great to have you. We have Ian, a data architect, code yes, intermediate for blockchain. That's awesome. We have also James. I work in a distribution warehouse. I have 0 experience, but I'm very interested in learning more about blockchain. I'm somewhat familiar in cryptocurrencies. Yes, there's a lot of interest that's been gained by a lot of people these days about blockchain, and for good reason. There's so much that you can do with it that not many people are doing yet, but more and more people are doing every day. So it's a very exciting field to get into. We also have Andres, who says they are a 3-year stock/crypto trader, very little experience coding, very little with building blockchain. Perfect place to be is here. Then we have Kirk, entrepreneur, no coding or experience in blockchain, fascinated by DAOs, NFTs, and creating a coin. Okay, perfect. That's what we're going to cover in the masterclass. This is one of the topics, building an NFT, building a coin. That's on the list. Then we have Leander, am in the military. I have 0 experience in coding other than those I've learned during school days. Am a beginner in blockchain tech. Yes, lots of people are beginners. It's good to see. We also have Richard. Hello, all. I'm a property manager. I know a little about coding and less about blockchain, but I want to learn. Hello. Okay, great to have you. Yes, even if you're not working in the tech industry, blockchain is still relevant in many industries as well, other than just basic tech. We have Robert, a social services worker, no coding experience, very interested in blockchain technology. That's great. Then we have Blazon. Can we easily get a job with no experience? Well, if you have never had any job experience in blockchain, then what you'll need to have is some project experience, which I'm glad you're here because in our masterclass, we'll build out a lot of projects that you can post, that you can share, that you can publish. So if you're applying for a job, you have no experience, they're looking for project experience, not just a small one, but hopefully something more comprehensive as well. And if you have your own company, if you are an entrepreneur, even if it's a small company, that will help you as well if you have no job experience. Also, if you can solve the challenges that they give you at the job interview, that will also help you if you have no experience. Because it's a new field, many people don't have job experience yet in blockchain, but if they have the proof of knowledge, then they can get a job.
Those projects will be very valuable, right?
Yes. Okay, next we have Ruben, recent graduate, data science, coding experience, but no blockchain experience. We have Latoya, hello, I'm T, system operations engineer, now looking to shift my career to blockchain developer. Awesome. Then we have Ashley, beginner, experience teacher. Awesome. Okay, then we have Anton, no experience in coding or crypto trading. Very excited. I'm very excited as well. I'm glad that we're here for you at your very first starting point, no experience in anything. That's great. I remember back when that was me. I remember it can be hard to find if you're not at a university. It can be hard to find a streamlined path to learn things. You don't know, am I learning the right thing? Am I building a relevant project? And you may be just hopping around trying to learn a million things at once. So I think a class like this is very helpful. And I would have loved it when I was starting out to have a very streamlined process because it really speeds up how you learn. And these days, a lot of universities don't have these topics yet because they're so new. So hence we had to make this course. Okay, let's see what else we have. We also have Vin, I'm a realtor, house remodeler, pre-verbal college student, no coding skills. I know a little bit about blockchain and would like to learn more. Awesome, you're going to learn a lot about it in these coming 8 weeks. Let's see, we also have Ashley, crypto enthusiast, did my first smart contract, created my own tokens. That's amazing, great. That's a great thing to achieve on your own for sure. There's a lot more you can do as well, not just building tokens, and there's a lot more you can do. And we're going to be building tons of different smart contracts in the course as well. We also have Frank, no experience. I'm a truck driver that holds crypto for over a year now, but would love to get more involved. Awesome, yes, the more you know about developing crypto and the blockchain space, the better you'll be at investing it as well. Then we have Jordan, IT, I do know how to code, but very little blockchain experience. Awesome, great place to be is here then. We also have Joseph, gym owner for the last 10 years, zero experience with blockchain, have been learning crypto since 2018. That would be very interesting to see how blockchain could potentially connect or intermingle with a gym, because as we mentioned, it can cross with a lot of different industries. Then we have Blaze on, do we need to know web development such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? No, we're not doing any web development in this particular course. You can build decentralized web applications, which would involve blockchain plus web development. But in this course, we're just doing the blockchain side. So you don't need to know web development. Okay. And that was the last comment for now. Feel free to keep the comments rolling. We'll keep an eye on them. All right, so it sounds like we have a lot of people who are beginners, very exciting, people in different industries as well. And even if you are an intermediate or you already are advanced, this is still a great place to make sure you know everything from start to finish, at least in terms of an 8-week masterclass on blockchain. And we're going to start from the beginner point of view and then get more and more complex as the weeks go on. So we're not just going to be completely beginner the whole time. We'll start off and then grow your knowledge upon itself with each coming week. So even if you're a complete beginner or you have some experience, you'll find benefit from the course, especially learning specifically how to build Solidity smart contracts for the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, let's see. Next up, let's continue on with our webinar. We've asked everyone who's in the chat. Next, let's talk about what is Lumiwealth. Rob, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, sure. So Lumiwealth, what we're all about is basically how do we use software to improve people's investments returns, right? That's the whole founding principle. It's the reason why we exist. I think there's a lot of things to do that. We have an algorithmic trading course that teaches you how to build robots. They'll automatically buy and sell stocks and options and crypto as well very soon. But then there's also this whole huge thing of, and we use machine learning. There's a bunch of, we have a lot of different courses on that whole topic. But then I think probably the most interesting thing right now, and you hit the nail on the head, Alexandra, is blockchain, right? I mean, there's so much really cool stuff going on right now. If we're talking about using software to improve investment returns, and the reason why we do that, by the way, I believe software is going to take over the whole world in every facet, already starting to, right? We already see very strongly that happening across the board. Hedge funds aren't doing that well. ETFs and blockchain and crypto, they're doing significantly better than any of these hedge fund managers ever could. And it's a really exciting field. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on. So obviously right now we have a lot of courses that you can learn about all these different types of things. We're also building out some software that is going to make this easier for you as well. So really, it's, Lumiwealth, we're about making you guys money, right? Plain and simple. How do I make you more money? And how do I do that in a scalable fashion using something like software, right? That's what we're all about.
Awesome. And we're all excited to have you here joining us. And we also have a Discord channel at Lumiwealth, which everyone's free to join and chat and discuss, ask questions on Discord as well. I could paste a link in the chat. Feel free to go to that Discord link and join the community. At the end of this webinar, we'll also have a survey for you because we love to take our student feedback and hear who wants to take the course, what they want to learn, all of that. Please ask questions, as we mentioned, throughout the presentation, because we love when we have an interactive presentation, and we love getting to know you as well. All right, now let's jump into the topic of the night. We're going to do an overview to blockchain introduction. And then, of course, in the masterclass, we're going to go through all of this in depth and actually get hands-on coding. But let's start tonight with talking about why learn blockchain in the first place. We've talked about it. Some of you in the chat have said that you're excited. I'm quite excited too, because with blockchain, it's a cutting edge industry. It's an exciting field to be in because there's so much new content, new technology coming. If you want to be an innovator, be an inventor, this is a great field for that. We're going to build tons of fun projects in the course, and they're also relevant to different industries. So not only is it exciting, but it's also practical to take the course because you learn skills that many companies are looking for. Blockchain is changing the world. I'm sure all of you have heard about cryptocurrencies, but there's a lot more than just cryptocurrencies and NFTs to blockchain. Blockchain can be used across a variety of industries to perform business tasks, to streamline operations, to save money, and to, in general, just improve how a business works and improve privacy and improve security, reduce hacking. We're going to talk more about cryptocurrencies and NFTs later tonight, but blockchain is also used in different industries like entertainment, in the game development industry. You can combine a game with blockchain technology and therefore incorporate things like having an NFT in the game or having every game action be logged on the blockchain. As well, even in every website, or this is very video conference, even anything like that, any software can implement blockchain technology, and more projects are being developed over time. For example, with a web app, you can connect users' actions to the blockchain. You can allow users to make purchases with cryptocurrencies and much more. There's also Web 3.0, which is very exciting currently. In general, the web is at the Web 2.0 stage. So back in the 80s, there's Web 1.0, which were static pages. Few people knew how to make a website. But then we're currently in Web 2.0, where we have a lot of social media, and there are these big companies like FAANG companies, Facebook, Amazon, that are controlling a lot of the web. But then in the future, it's projected, and it's already starting, that we'll have Web 3.0, which uses blockchain technology. It uses decentralized technology to do a lot of things like improve security, reduce hacking, and also to take some of the power and control and spread it out rather than having a lot of big companies be in control of data and in control of money and what happens on the web. Also, a lot of companies are implementing blockchain, like a lot of financial companies. They are implementing financial instruments that use blockchain technology because there's a lot of benefits, like it can save you money, it can save you time, and also, for example, improve security because it's harder to hack something that uses blockchain technology if it's built correctly. And of course, transactions day to day, as more people are using cryptocurrency, you can buy things with cryptocurrencies. That's probably the most in your face thing that you can see in day to day about the blockchain technology is cryptocurrency, but there's a lot more as well with the technology. So it's very exciting. It's the future of the internet and a lot more. And not only that, but if you learn a lot more about blockchain, you'll be able to invest better in it if you are investing in cryptocurrencies and NFTs. And as we already said, there's good job prospects because a lot of companies are hiring blockchain developers, and there's very limited demand, or there's very limited supply, because so few people know how to build blockchain technology because it's new. More and more people are learning every day, but it is quite new, especially compared to other technologies. Okay, now that we've talked about why blockchain is so exciting, let's talk about the description of a blockchain in the first place. We'll talk about what are the Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains, two of the most popular blockchains out there. If you're going to remember anything from tonight, let's just remember one definition about a blockchain. The number one property of a blockchain is to establish trust between parties without any intermediary. For example, if you want to make a big purchase, like you want to get a mortgage, you have to go to the bank and go to the notary. You have to go through all of these middle parties to make the transaction. And the reason for that is because you need to have some middle party to establish trust, to make sure you're not getting scammed, to make sure you're buying the right thing, to make sure if you give the money, you'll get what you said that you paid for. And that's why we need the middle people. But with the help of blockchain, the blockchain replaces the intermediaries. So instead of having to put your trust in a bank and the notary, you can put your trust in the blockchain to take the funds that you give it and to then have that verified and then receive what you paid for. A blockchain can be visualized as, just like the name says, a chain of blocks. You have all these blocks and they're all connected. So if any of you, I know some of you are familiar with coding, it's just a glorified linked list where you have a list of items and they're linked and you can't break the chain or move it around. That is a blockchain where you have this chain of blocks and each block contains data. And this data is going to be permanently stored on the blockchain, which is why it's so trustworthy. That's why you can trust the blockchain, because once something is put on the blockchain, you can't take it off or undo it. You could add another block to the chain, but you can't undo what you put. So it makes it harder to perform a scam. And therefore, you have more trust when you're performing a transaction. The technical definition would be that a blockchain is a time-stamped series of immutable transactions. Time-stamped meaning that you know exactly when it happened. They're immutable, meaning you can't change them. And they're transactions because some data has been transferred. It's not just for putting some kind of coin on there or making some kind of purchase via the blockchain. That is one purpose of a blockchain, to make a purchase with cryptocurrency. But there's lots of other transactions that you can put onto a blockchain as well. Like if I visit a website and sign up for an account, I could put that onto the blockchain if the website is connected to the blockchain. And blockchains are managed by a cluster of computers using special algorithms. So we'll get more detailed into this when we start the actual class, but a network of computers all around the world manages the blockchain. And you yourself could actually hook up your computer and join the network if you wanted to be a part of the blockchain and be a part of the network, and your computer would be doing the work of being part of the network and sustaining it. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two most popular blockchains. There are tons of blockchains, and you could build your own as well, but these are the two most popular. Bitcoin, the theory for a blockchain was actually theorized back in the 90s, but then the first official white paper was released in 2008 by Satoshi Nakamoto, who is an anonymous figure that we don't know, but you can read the white paper online. It describes how a blockchain would work practically. And that was the first time that a paper was released that described how the blockchain could work practically. There have been other blockchains since then, like for example, Ethereum. Ethereum blockchain was created in 2015, and it was inspired by the Bitcoin blockchain, the original, but then it added its own new features to the structure. And we're actually going to be learning all about Ethereum in this 8-week course, because the Ethereum blockchain was specifically created to help developers build software and applications focused around transferring value, transferring coin, or just connecting software with blockchain technology. So that's why we are choosing Ethereum for this course, because it's specifically for this task. All right, so that is what are Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains. We have a question that says from Andres, are all blockchains now influenced by Bitcoin's original source code? Well, many are, but you could build your own from scratch. But the Bitcoin blockchain was the first white paper that explained the template for how you could practically build one. Of course, it wasn't perfect, and you can build a different one that's inspired by it, that has different features, that fills gaps that the Bitcoin blockchain has, fixes some of its flaws, and you don't have to completely copy it and then clone it and edit it. But yes, all of them are inspired by that original template for how it works, but then they have had many changes and iterations over time. Like the Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains, they're not identical. We also have a question, how much time do we need to spend per day/week to learn this course? It depends on how much time you want to spend in investing in the course and learning. For example, you could just watch the videos that we'll do every week, and then you would learn a lot from just watching the videos. But then if you want to try the projects out yourself or expand on the projects or try your own projects, it will take more time. So it depends on what kind of time you want to invest back in it. But every week we'll be doing around 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours of video. And then we'll provide you suggestions for projects that you can try out on your own on the weekend. All right, so let's see. Next up, we're going to talk about what are Solidity smart contracts, because throughout our class, we're going to be building tons of these smart contracts. So a contract is just an agreement. If I sign a contract to pay a loan, I'm signing that I will pay the loan and I'll have a consequence if I don't. A smart contract is just like that, an agreement, but it's smart because it's written in code. And it's called a Solidity smart contract because Solidity is the programming language that you use to write smart contracts for the Ethereum blockchain. There are other programming languages that you could use for other blockchains. We chose Solidity and Ethereum because they're the most popular for building decentralized applications and connecting software with blockchain, and just in general, being a blockchain programmer, Ethereum is the most popular one. The code of a smart contract cannot change once it's been deployed. And that's, again, what makes blockchain so trustworthy. Because let's say I write a smart contract saying that if someone purchases my house, then I'll give that to them. And I put that onto the blockchain. That means if I put it on there, I can't take it back anymore because it's already on the blockchain. And the purpose of that is to prevent fraud. So you have this trust established that once you add something there, you can't take it back, you can't edit it, it's fixed in stone. You could add another contract after that, or you could as well make transactions to the contract. You could interact with the contract. You could perform certain actions, like if the contract itself has a certain functionality that you want to evoke, like cancel, then you could evoke the functionality of that smart contract by interacting with it, but you can't take the smart contract off of the blockchain. We're going to build several smart contracts in our class, and there's tons of different contracts you can build. It all depends on what kind of task or goal you're trying to achieve, or if you're working for a company, what the company needs in terms of what the company wants when they're connecting their current business operations with blockchain technology. You would build a smart contract to perform whatever they wanted to perform. For example, you could build one for a crowdfunding campaign or a lottery, a loan. You could build a smart contract that represents a bank or represents a financial instrument. You could build a smart contract that represents a game. You could build a smart contract that represents a coin or an NFT or a token. There are tons of contract types that you can build, and it's very exciting because tons more are being built every day, and many companies are using smart contracts to improve their business operations. And as we mentioned, Solidity is the programming language for specifically writing contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. And we are going to be using that one because it's the most popular one. And let's see, I see we have another question from Richard. Could one of these smart contracts work as an apartment lease? Yes, I could definitely see a smart contract being written to outline the details of an apartment lease and then use that smart contract on the blockchain. And if someone wanted to interact with that lease, then they could interact with the blockchain via their crypto wallet. So yes, I could see a smart contract being used to represent an apartment lease. And we have another question. Are there different types of programming languages for Ethereum? Solidity is the #1 programming language for Ethereum. And there are other programming languages like Cardano. Like for the Cardano blockchain, you would use the Haskell language or Marlow. So Solidity is the #1 for Ethereum, which is why we chose it. And you can actually try it out yourself. You can see how to code in Solidity by going to remix.ethereum.org. And you can actually start coding out smart contracts online and take a look at some fun examples. This is made by the official team at Remix, which is the online Solidity code editor. So I'll paste it into the chat and you guys can check it out. I think it will also answer a lot of your perhaps pending questions about Solidity and Ethereum. Here, if you go to Remix, you can actually check out some sample smart contracts. You can run them. You can try out what it's like to deploy a contract. And you can check out what the Solidity programming language looks like as well. So this online editor is specifically for building smart contracts for the Ethereum blockchain. All right, and great questions, everyone. Next up, we're going to dive into cryptocurrencies and NFTs, a very hot topic, definitely in the news a lot as more and more people are investing in cryptocurrencies and building NFTs. I would say that cryptocurrencies and NFTs are a big reason behind why blockchain is getting popularity recently, but they're not the only things that you can do with a blockchain. There's a lot more as well. Let's talk about what is a cryptocurrency. A cryptocurrency is just like the name says, crypto plus currency. It is a digital or virtual currency secured by cryptography. And that makes it nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend, which makes a cryptocurrency more secure and trustworthy than regular cash that you're spending online. Some examples are Bitcoin or Ether or ADA and more. There's tons of cryptocurrencies out there. You could even build your own if you wanted to. We also have what's known as a crypto token. So we have a cryptocurrency, which is used as a form of money. And we also have a crypto token, which is more akin to something like a voucher. So cryptocurrencies will have their own blockchains, like Ether has the Ethereum blockchain, but a token, on the other hand, is built on an existing blockchain and usually is to represent some kind of asset. For example, you could use a crypto token to represent an apartment or to represent some kind of person, even if you want to have a token represent a person and have that being passed around. Some examples are DAI, Link, Comp, and CryptoKitties. And as well, one type of crypto token is an NFT, which stands for non-fungible token. Non-fungible means that you can't replicate it. So it is set in stone and it represents a unique asset. NFTs are being used a lot these days by many people, including a lot of celebrities. You've probably seen on the news people use NFTs to represent their artwork, to represent a collectible item like a card, or even to represent some kind of purchase that is made. So if you purchase a designer clothing item, you can get an NFT along with it as a way to represent that you actually own this unique designer item. Those are just a few examples. NFTs are also used in games. For example, you could represent a collectible character as an NFT, or you could use NFTs as different assets throughout the game, and people can buy these in the game. Those are just a few examples of where NFTs are used, and they're used in many different industries as well. So I'm excited to see what everyone has to offer and what ideas you guys will come up with during the course, because everyone seems to be coming from a different industry. So it's very unique and powerful to have all these different perspectives of different industries, because the blockchain can be implemented and is being integrated with these different industries. So there's a lot of potential for whatever industry you're in to combine it with blockchain technology. All right, so let's see. That is an overview of the 4 topics of today's webinar. Now, in the actual 8-week class, we're going to be diving much deeper into the blockchain landscape, talking about the nitty-gritty details of how cryptocurrencies work. Smart contracts, will dive into them much more in detail. This webinar is more of an overview, but throughout the course, we'll talk about all of these things, and we'll actually get hands-on building some of these things that we've been talking about and theorizing. Like, we'll be learning how to build a smart contract, how to build our own NFT. So a very exciting and practical hands-on course coming for you if you choose to join us. All right, next up, we are going to take you to the official webpage for our course here, so that you can read in detail all about the plans, the course curriculum, and we'll go over it with you now. So if you have any questions, many of them should be answered via this link. So I will paste it into the chat. I also see we have a message from Andres. Would DAOs use more of a token? DAOs would be able to use a token. Yes, more of a token. All right, now let's go to lumiwealth.com and check out the blockchain programming course. So this is our official webpage where you guys can read all about the course. We have several different plans for the course that you can choose. We have the self-directed plan, which means that you're working on your own pace. You're not joining us in the live classes like this, but you do have access to all of the videos, which are recordings of the live classes, and all of the source code for the projects that we build. And you'll have lifetime access to all of that. We also have the live classes plan where you get all of that, but also you get to join the live classes just like we're talking today. You'll be able to ask questions live and interact with each other and meet your fellow students and be extremely motivated because you have this live class. But then you will also have the recordings and the source code in addition. Then we have one more plan, which is the tutoring plan, which means you get to have the recordings, the live classes, the source code, and also if you have a project that you want to create, or you have questions that are very specific that you want to be answered, or you are training for a job interview, then you can get personalized tutoring via this third plan. So here we have the 3 course plans. We have the self-directed, live classes, and the project help / tutoring. So feel free to choose either of these 3, whichever one works best for you. We also have payment plans available if you don't want to pay, or if you cannot pay immediately, you can pay in installments. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them. Any questions about these different plans? And if you're taking the live classes and at any point you, for example, some issue comes up or you have a personal event and you have to stop the live classes, then you'll be able to pick up right where you left off at our next session, because we do sessions every 3 months. And let's see here. Next up, feel free to book a call with us as well for any other questions that you want to ask and discuss in detail, or just drop them in the chat today as well. We also will do an overview now of the course curriculum. So let's dive deep into talking about the 8 coming weeks. I do see we also have a message from Andres. What kind of certification is provided upon completion of the courses? I think Rob will be able to answer if we have an official Lumiwealth certificate for this course.
Yeah, we do issue certificates. If that's something that you're looking for, we can issue a certificate, yes.
Awesome. And along with a certificate, I think even more important is the actual projects that you'll have that show that you know how to build a project from start to finish, which can be even more valuable, especially if you are going into a job interview and they present you with a task and you have to solve a task at the job interview, then having that practical knowledge will also help. Okay, so now let's talk about our course curriculum. We have 3 parts to our 8 weeks: introduction, Solidity advanced concepts, and getting into NFTs. So in week 1, we are going to do an introduction to blockchain, Solidity, and smart contracts. We'll introduce all the students in the class, get to know each other, perhaps find some potential business partners as we all discuss what our goals are, what we're interested in, ideas that we have, and what we want to achieve with the course. We'll also do an introduction to blockchain, Solidity, and smart contracts, getting more into the technical aspects of how everything works. We'll also introduce the Ethereum Remix IDE, which is that online code editor, and we'll learn how to write our first Solidity code. Then in week 2, we're going to dive deeper into Solidity, talking about fundamental programming topics like variables, arrays, mappings, and conditionals. So if you have no coding experience, then this is a great place for you because we're going to teach you how to code as we teach you about the blockchain. If you already have coding experience, then you'll be a step ahead because you'll already have a lot of this programming knowledge, like what is a variable, what is an array. But if you don't, then we'll explain everything from scratch. Solidity is also a unique language. So if you have experience in other languages, it's still very important to understand Solidity on its own because it is similar to JavaScript, but it does have its differences. Then in week 3, we'll get into building some Solidity smart contracts. We'll learn how to send Ether back and forth, how to build a data storage contract, profit splitter, and contracts with limits, and more. After that, we are going to go into week 4 and talk about inheritance, which is a programming topic that's key to understand. We'll learn how to build contracts with inheritance and modifiers. So throughout the course, as we teach you the theory behind a programming topic and a blockchain topic, we'll also show it to you in a practical sense so that you can see exactly what it means hands-on. So applying the theory to code. Okay, we also have a question from Omar. What days are the classes? Classes are every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. And of course, you can have the recordings as well. So if you miss one live class or you're a bit late, you'll still have the recording. And they're approximately 2 hours per week. Great question. Okay, and let's see. Then we'll have week 5, deep diving into Solidity contracts. So as we mentioned, we're going to start from the basics, but then advance our knowledge over time. So we'll learn how to build abstract contracts, bank contracts, libraries, and contracts with more limits like time limits. And these are specific examples, but with the knowledge that you learn, you'll be able to build whatever kind of contract you need, because as long as you know the fundamentals and you know how to get answers, how to search for answers, how to solve problems, then you can solve whatever task you're given, whether it's by a job interviewer or an employer or just your own personal project or your own entrepreneurial project. You'll be able to solve whatever problems you're given because you have the toolkit for knowing how to search for problems, how to find a solution, or how to write the code for any given task. Like, for example, if someone gives you a task of building a contract with a limited time transaction or a limited amount of purchasers transaction, or whatever kind of task you're given. And finally, we have part 3. In week 6, we're going to learn how to build an NFT token. So we're getting into NFTs in week 6. We'll learn how to use the ERC 721 standard, which is like a blueprint template that's accepted for building NFTs. So you'll learn about the standards for building a non-fungible token, and we'll build one and have some projects by the end of that. Then in week 7, we'll learn how to deploy our NFT token. So we'll be able to see our token live on a testnet. We'll learn how to use the MetaMask digital wallet, how to deploy to a testnet, and how to validate our metadata. So this means that we'll be able to actually build an NFT and then send it out into the world. And then in week 8, we'll finish up by building and deploying a smart contract with Truffle and Ganache. Truffle is a more advanced tool that is used for building smart contracts. So you can build smart contracts on the online editor Remix, but you can also build contracts offline, like with Truffle and with Hardhat, different tools for building larger projects. So if you wanted to build something like a decentralized web application, so a web application that has blockchain-like technology or that connects to a blockchain, then you would have to use a tool like Truffle to have that larger project. So we'll learn how to build larger projects like that and how to deploy smart contracts with a personal blockchain. And then you will have all the tools to continue on with whatever specific project you want afterward. For example, you might want to build a decentralized app after this course, or you might want to start building out smart contracts for a specific industry that you want to get into. All right, and that is an overview of the curriculum. We're starting class very soon on the 20th, so make sure that you register quickly if you want to get in on that January 20th start date. And we do have limited spots, so don't wait before we fill up the spots, because we like to keep class sizes not entirely huge, but relatively small, so that way we can answer everyone's questions, we can give that tutoring help, and people can collaborate, and we can make sure everyone gets their needs met. And the course length will be 8 weeks, excluding holiday breaks. In terms of effort, approximately 8 to 12 hours per week to answer the question we had earlier, but it does depend on what you want to get out of the course. If you want just a general overview of blockchain, then you can watch the lectures and try the projects. But if you want to, as your goal, get a job by the end of the 8 weeks, then you'll have to put in more of that effort to try out projects for yourself. We also have a question from Omar. When will the videos be released? I believe Rob will have the best answer for this.
Yeah, sure. So if you guys are signing up to the self-directed plan, then you'll get access to the videos by the end of the course, right? So once everything is done, you'll get access to it. If you sign up to the live course, then you'll get the videos. We usually release them like the next day or next like 2 days afterwards, right? So depending on which plan you get, obviously a live plan, so it's one of our premium plans, the one that more people sign up for. But yeah, if you're with that one, you'll get the videos like the day after that they're done. But if you sign up to self-directed one, you're going to get them after it's all finished.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. We also have a question from Joseph. Will we have homework assignments? We will have optional homework assignments that you can partake, but we won't have any graded or marked assignments. But we will leave you with challenges and ideas, and I'm sure you'll want to review everything that we cover in the 2 hours per week. You want to try the projects out yourself because we'll be showing you projects, and then you can try running those projects. You can try building those projects from scratch or modifying the project slightly. So we will have homework assignments that are optional. Great question. We'll be building tons of projects in the course. It's a projects-based course. So that way, by the end of it, you actually have some proof of your work and proof of your studies. For example, we'll be building tons of smart contracts and releasing our own crypto coins and NFTs, just as a few examples. And we have a lot of reviews. Feel free to read some reviews from the Lumiwealth community to hear what other students have to say and their success stories. Okay, we also have another question. We're just wondering if in Self-Directed, do we build a variety of projects? Yes, so the Self-Directed course is the same as the live classes, but you just only get the recordings. So you don't get to interact with us, the students, the teacher, live in class. You still get all of the recordings from the live classes, but you just are not there live. But it is all the same projects, which are a variety. So I'll show you here. We have the self-directed plan versus the live plan. So with the live classes, we have 8 weeks of live classes, 6 hours of dedicated live Q&A, help with projects, Q&A. And then the self-directed is just the non-live version of that with the same projects. We also have another question. In that case, does the registration close date apply to the self-directed? All right, so there is a registration deadline. I believe Rob will have the best answer to this.
Yeah, for the self-directed, there's no deadline because you'll get the recordings when they're available, right? The deadline is more to do with the live class because, of course, you have to show up at a specific time, right? It's a live class, right? But self-directed, I mean, there's no deadline. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Great question. And if you have any other questions throughout the next few days before registration closes, feel free to email us and we'll be happy to answer any question. All right, Rob, I believe we're wrapping it up now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a great presentation. All right, awesome. I guess we can take any more questions that people have. I guess wait around for any other questions people have. But thank you very much, Alexandra. This is fantastic. Honestly, great webinar. I always love listening to you speak. I feel like you're so knowledgeable. You know so much about this stuff, and obviously it's a really interesting topic and a lot of really cool stuff going on. I'm actually in New York City right now. I just met with a friend of mine who actually he helps raise money for a lot of these blockchain companies, and we're just laughing about it. It's like, gee, like the money being thrown into this is just ridiculous, right? It's like kids that are 20 years old with no experience have raised $100 million to do some crazy project for some NFT game or whatever. I mean, it's nuts, right? And I think there's a good reason behind it, right? It's you know, basically reinventing the entire finance industry from the ground up, plus more. Whenever you do something like that, you can, I mean, you can do everything that Chase Bank does in the blockchain, right? For example, right? And more. Right. So I think there's a lot of very interesting stuff in here. And I think, Alexandra, you're a great person to learn from. Not only are you very knowledgeable, but you're also very attentive. You respond to emails very quickly. You're someone who's very enthusiastic. And I think I'm personally going to be learning from you, but I think a lot of other people would love to do that as well. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Yes, no problem. I see we have some more questions as well. Blazon's asking if we have any discounts.
We did have an early bird special, right? I think that has passed by now. If I mean, you know, get in touch with. I don't know if you've gotten in touch with Alicia or anyone else on our customer service or sales team yet. But if you reach out to them, they might be able to do something for you. I'm not sure. Not my wheelhouse here. But we did have an early bird special before that has passed. If you speak to them directly, maybe they'll be able to do something for you as well. Right.
Awesome. We also have someone asking for our customer support email.
So I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this out. I think this addresses both questions. If you guys want to reach out to anyone to learn more about, how to buy this course, or discounts or customer service, or anything along those lines, reach out to this email that I put into the chat just now, Alicia@lumiwealth.com. She's the one that's in charge of all this stuff. She can help you out with whatever you need. Right? If you're interested in buying the course, if you're interested in any other questions that you have, anything, Alicia will get on the phone with you and go through everything in detail and make sure that you're taken care of. All right.
Awesome.
Shoot her an email there.
That's great support. We also have another question. Will there be any guidance to layer 2 applications such as Polygon? We can definitely provide some project examples on Polygon or any other inquiries you have. We're not specifically going to be building a layer 2 application like Polygon in the course, but throughout the course, if you have any questions like that, or you want examples of something like that, feel free to email us. As a student, we're happy to help you give those examples of something specific you want to learn that's perhaps not in the curriculum. And if enough people ask, then we'll add it to the curriculum and add it to one of the weeks as we teach.
Well, that's one of the advantages of the live course, right? Is that when you have any questions or you want to learn about anything, I mean, we can modify things as we go, right?
Mm-hmm. So. Yep, for sure. As you must in tech.
Absolutely.
We also have another question from Huda. I work in the logistics industry, so I'm wondering, can the blockchain be utilized in the logistics field? Yes, I imagine that the blockchain can be used in the logistics industry. I haven't specifically built any projects for the logistics industry. Rob, do you have any more insight to that?
I've actually heard of quite a few. This is pretty big. I used to work at Voyager back in the day, another big crypto company. And we were hiring some people back then that worked at IBM, and IBM was just tons of different stuff like this, right? It's like, logistics, it's like, where did your food come from, right? What was used to assemble certain products? It's this whole thing of sustainability. It's this whole thing of, did I get grass-fed cat meat, right? Is this actually organic? Like, there's so many things involved in this. So yeah, logistics is actually one of the bigger things that I've seen on the blockchain. Obviously, finance is the biggest, right? But I think logistics is probably the second biggest that I've seen personally.
Yes, for sure.
Supply chain logistics, right? Same sort of thing.
Yes, definitely. Okay, let's see. Then we have Joseph asking, would it be beneficial to learn JavaScript prior to the course since it is similar to Solidity? Yes, that would definitely help because it has a lot of similar syntax, which means it looks very similar. There are definitely some differences, but if you have JavaScript knowledge, that would help you understand Solidity because you would have programming knowledge as well, and you would have knowledge of a language that looks similar. And also, if you do want to build some kind of web application and then combine it with blockchain, so if you want to build a decentralized website, for example, then you would need to have JavaScript as well. So JavaScript would be helpful for that because the Solidity is just for the blockchain part. But if you want to incorporate some other piece of software with the blockchain part, you would have to use that software like JavaScript. So yes.
Yeah, beneficial, not required though, right?
No, not required. You don't need any programming language experience as long as you know English.
That is definitely a useful skill.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. Here's another one here. Joseph. Do you offer JavaScript courses? And I'll actually answer this question if you don't mind. We don't yet. We will soon. We've already actually had this discussion. I think Alexandra, you and I spoke about this about doing a JavaScript course. I think and to be honest with you, I need to reach out to, and we should probably discuss this. But I do think that's actually a very good idea, and I think Joseph, highlights that even more so. JavaScript just works so well with the blockchain, right? That I think it makes sense for us to do that sort of thing. And generally, JavaScript is super, super useful. I think it's it's the most useful software language that you can learn. Python, JavaScript, number one, number two, right? So yeah, so I think that'd be great. You know, if Alexandra, you want to have this discussion, I would love to have you teach actually one of these JavaScript courses, maybe a JavaScript course that's kind of like focused on blockchain, like more specific to blockchain JavaScript course, you know, putting it out there. You let me know what you think.
I could see a lot of opportunity for that for sure, because if you want to build a decentralized website or something similar, JavaScript is going to be a huge role in that. And you could always learn JavaScript after this course as well, because with this course, you learn the blockchain side, and then with another course, you learn a different side, like the front end side. And then the back end would be the blockchain and the server, the database.
Yeah.
We also have Franklin asking, how about Python? Do we have any Python courses?
Oh yeah, we have tons of Python courses. We have, I mean, they're really more specific to algorithmic trading, right? So we have our algorithmic trading course that teaches you Python while you're going through it. We've been thinking about splitting that course up, or supplementing it with a course that's more focused on just Python and data science. I mean, most people that do Python is mostly used for data science. You know, JavaScript is for building web applications and things like that. Python is a lot used for data science. So we're actually thinking about making just a course for that alone. But if you are interested in learning Python, we have the algorithmic trading course that teaches you Python and then teaches you how to build these trading robots as a more hands-on application of this. It's a very cool course. It's the one that I actually teach. So if you're interested in learning Python, you could definitely take that course. And soon we'll have even just one that specifically focuses on Python and data science. Thank you for that question. It's great.
That's great. Very exciting to see everyone's enthusiasm for programming languages.
It's the future, you know, jobs that pay you more money for doing less work, right?
We love that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cool. So I think that's probably it. Unless someone else has any more questions, I feel like we've gone through quite a few. If you do have any more questions, I'll type out that email one more time. Alicia@lumiwealth.com. She's probably the best person for questions. I'm gonna write that out again here. Alicia@lumiwealth.com. You guys have probably spoken to her. You know, many of you guys have probably spoken to her. You've probably spoken to either Fisnik or Alicia, who are the guys that man the phones and do all that sort of thing. But Alicia, I think, is the number one resource. She'll walk you through everything, right? Whatever questions you have about the courses, about when things start, all that kind of stuff, she's your go-to. So make sure you shoot her an email.
That's great customer support.
Cool. Yeah, fantastic. And Latoya giving you a nice compliment here, Alexandra. This is extremely informative. Can't wait to join. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for being here, Latoya, and I will echo that as well. Thank you, Alexandra. This is fantastic. I always love listening to you. You know, you have such this wealth of knowledge that I think is fantastic. So thank you again. I'll echo that too.
Thank you. I love teaching this because it's so hard to find. So I know the struggle when you don't have a streamlined curriculum. So I can see the benefit.
Yeah. Yes. Whenever it's something brand new, you try to like piece it all together. It's like,
yes,
trying to solve, you know, do rocket science in the dark, right? You know?
Yes. It's so much better to have it streamlined and planned for you what to learn.
Absolutely, absolutely. And be able to ask you questions if anything comes up. You know, I know something that happens very often when people are learning how to code. I mean, I've been coding for over 20 years, but every time I learn a new language, it's still the same thing over again, right? You get better at it, but you know, it's still the same sort of repetitive thing. And it's like coding is so funny. It's like, you know, you're learning, and then you get stuck on this one thing, and it just takes you hours to figure out. It's like literally you could save like 5 hours of work by just asking a 10-minute question. So that's why I think these live classes are fantastic, because it's that interactivity. Being able to ask other students, but also ask you, and you know, I'm stuck. It could take me 10 hours to figure out, or I could just spend 5 minutes with you and you could solve it for me, right?
Yeah. Yes. There's nothing like that second opinion. And that's why it's much easier to work on projects if you're working with a team, because you have other minds that you can bounce off of and get that fresh point of view.
Absolutely. I think we have one more question here from Franklin. So what will be learned what will be learned will be back-end development.
Yes, I would say. Blockchain, this specific 8 weeks would be learning about the back-end side of blockchain development. So you would learn how to build all the functionality behind the smart contract, filling out the transactions, what kind of fields you want the smart contract to have, what kind of data you want it to store, what kind of functionality you want it to contain, what it can do. And it would still work, you could still deploy it, but then if you wanted to present it to, for example, a client or to release it to users, then the best thing would be to build out some kind of front end side to it, like a website, because that makes it extremely easy for your user base to just go to a website and start interacting with your project.
Right, and I guess blockchain itself is really backend, right? That's what blockchain is, right? But I mean, even if you don't create the front end website, you could still like take your NFT or token or whatever and put it on like an exchange or something like that too, right? So it's not like you have to build a website, but it's, you know, you have that option, right? Like if you want to build like a game or something, right? You know?
Yes, or you could incorporate the technology with some existing project. And you can still deploy it without having any front end, for sure. People can still interact with it without that front end.
We got another question here from Andres. Would these courses help us in various types of blockchain career opportunities, for example, like blockchain analysis or other various fields? If you want to answer that.
Let's see, other various types of blockchain career opportunities. For sure, because we will be covering the blockchain landscape at the beginning, talking about everything you need to know in the blockchain field, and then getting into more practical projects. And all of these skills, like programming in general, is such a cross-disciplinary skill. You can use programming not just in blockchain, but in many other projects as well.
Yeah, and I think and I don't know if you feel the same way as I do, Alexandra, but I mean, I feel like I get to know something a lot better when I like sit down and really get into it and like be able to code or whatever. I feel like that's like the best way to understand a blockchain. Like you like actually understand how it works. But it's one thing to like learn the theory about it. It's like, oh, this is like theoretically like how the blockchain works and how you do this and that and NFTs and whatever. But when you actually sit down and like do it yourself, that's when you really get that knowledge, right? So I definitely agree with that, and that's kind of the way that I feel too. Like I want to take this. I'm personally taking this course because I really want to understand a lot better of like. It's one thing to know what Bitcoin is or Ethereum is. It's another thing to be able to build something on Ethereum and like actually see it functioning. Like that just gives you a whole new level of understanding, right?
Yes, and I think it also helps you be less intimidated and less confused, because when people talk about things in theory, it's a bit more abstract. It may seem a bit more complex than it really is. But once you start building it out, yes, there could be frustrations. It could be hard. You have to learn, of course, but you start to see it's not as complex. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be some kind of genius to become a blockchain programmer or some kind of mathematical PhD. It could be anyone.
Absolutely. We got another question here from Arya.
Let's see, are there any other online resources other than the Remix Ethereum Lab that is a great introduction to this field as a complete newbie? Let's see, the Remix Lab is great. I know there's another one called Crypto Zombies. That's very fun. Actually, I'll write that down. Crypto Zombies into the chat. That's a fun online example as well. Okay, great. Yes, there's tons out there for sure. It can be overwhelming though, because there's tons of blog posts to read, tons of projects you could try on GitHub. So I'll type out GitHub as well. So it can be overwhelming to search up as a complete beginner. But those two that I've put, Crypto Zombies and just searching up as well projects on GitHub, those I would recommend, although for GitHub, that's a bit more advanced, trying to understand projects on GitHub. So I would say check out Crypto Zombies. Let's see, check out YouTube videos, check out books. It can be very overwhelming. So that's why we had to make the course, really, because we had to get rid of the jargon and get rid of all this complicated terms and just huge projects and just simplify it down. Because once you know those fundamentals, then you have a lot more confidence and you actually understand it, rather than thinking you understand something that's too complex for you right now. Yes, so I hope that You
Really
like
cool, by the
those?
way.
Oh yes, I love crypto zombies. It's fun.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm just going through a website right now. Looks
I mean,
very
there's so many resources. That's just what came to my head because it's fun, but there's tons.
cool.
I mean, it's very overwhelming for a beginner though. I remember as a beginner, you just get so confused because you don't know what's a beginner tutorial, you don't know what's an advanced tutorial. You might try something and then it's way too advanced for you. So I think this course will help.
Absolutely. Uh, so Franklin asks, will we get to keep the programs and the live classes? Yes, absolutely. So you'll have lifetime access, right? So obviously you get to be part of the live class and you get to go through all that, but then you'll get access to the code, including any changes that we make to the code. Keep that in mind because technology changes over time. So not only are you going to get the code that we use in the class forever, but you're going to be able to use the future code, right?
Mm.
You'll also get access to the videos forever, right? Lifetime access, so you'll be able to rewatch them as many times as you want. And if you join the live classes, another benefit too is some people even like will hop into new ones, right? So if you buy live classes, you can not only join this one, but you could join the one that starts. We don't have it up yet. You know, this one starting in January. We'll probably have another one starting like March, April, something like that. You could join that one as well, right? So sometimes people are like, there's two reasons why you would do this, but you know, it's either that you know, something came up, right? Let's say, you know, God forbid, some sort of health thing, you get sick or something like that, or switch jobs or move or whatever, right? And you might not be able to complete the course. You could take the next one, right? So you could always finish the next one. Or, you know, technology changes over time, and you know, this is a very fast developing field. There's a lot of new stuff coming out. So this class is going to be different than the class after it, than the class after it. In 2 years from now, if we're doing this, I can imagine quite a bit of things will have changed, and you can take those classes in the future. You'll get access to those videos, and you'll be able to jump into them live as well, right? So lifetime access for anything that you get from the live classes. It's a great question. Thank you.
That's amazing. Actually, I've never seen that before offered where you get all of the future courses, the course updates, and the updated source code that would be live. Because even at a university, you wouldn't get that. You would have to pay for it all over again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm. Great question.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I feel like this is fantastic, by the way. I love how interactive this has been. Lots of great questions today. We had a good amount of people, very interactive. I thought this was great. I hope to see you guys in the class. This is awesome. Let's build some cool stuff together, you know? Forget crypto kitties and all that. Let's all be billionaires, you know? Figure
Yes,
out
I better see everyone. Franklin area, I better see all of you.
yeah. I actually I hope that I think this would be really cool by the end of the class. You know, not only is it that you're in the class, you learn from it, but it's that community. And I hope that, you know, I can look back in a year from now or something like that. And some of you guys have built some really cool stuff and are making tons of money. That would be like the best thing in the world to me. Leave a review on our website so we can see that. But I mean, that's really the whole point of this, right? That's why we created the company to begin with, right? And I really want to see you guys thrive and succeed, you know, so big time.
And it's so exciting because it's such a new field that one of your students could make something that is very exciting.
I hope one of our students becomes super famous and super rich. Share the wealth, all right? It's
Sorry,
fantastic.
that should be the company slogan.
I think that'd be great. Very simple, right? To the point.
Mhm.
Very cool. All right, so I think that's it. I mean, it doesn't seem like we have any more questions coming in. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much again, Alexandra. This is great. I can't wait to start. By the way, guys, this course starts next week. If you want to sign up, this is your time to sign up. Make sure you sign up. If you're interested in this, you know, let's get going. And hopefully I see all you guys next week, and let's build some really cool stuff. I'm down. I think a couple of weeks in, I'm going to be building LumiCoin. That's for sure. So keep an eye out for that. You know? Try to get it on Binance or something.
You could do it for sure.
Very cool. All right, guys. Hope you have a great night. Thank you very much for attending, and hope to see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Later, guys.